Hello class, my name is Tulio, Public Policy Week 2, and this week we're talking about sequestration. So in reference to sequestration, I guess the first question I would answer is, how does it affect me? Sequestration, I've been hearing about it for the last 2 years, probably 2.5 years, but the way it just affected us, to include myself, is the tuition assistance. Tuition assistance has been put on hold for myself, all the soldiers that were taking classes, to include Navy and Marines. I'm not sure about the Air Force. Also, another way is back home, and I'm coming to you from Afghanistan. Back home is Fort Hood, Texas. I know that NWR, which is Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Programs, some of them have been put on hold, and some of them are going away. Currently, they're holding a lot of town hall meetings with the personnel, the command that runs the post, talking a lot about the unemployment, furloughs, and programs that are going to be put on hold and going away. Professionally, being that I'm in the military, it affected us even harder. The education was part of it, because it is paid. Tuition assistance is paid by Department of Defense. Also, other things that have been affected is training. I know back at Fort Hood, a lot of the training that was being conducted by civilian personnel is no longer being conducted by them. They've been taking off those jobs, and now every unit has to conduct their own training to prepare for upcoming missions. Also, other programs, for example, maintenance programs, schools, career enhancing programs, training, from my side in the military, have been put on hold until further notice because of the cuts on the budget. So second question is, how is your locality affected by the sequestration? I already mentioned Fort Hood. The workforce, they had a town hall meeting there to talk about sequestration and budget cuts, and some of the stuff that they put out, and you can find it on the Fort Hood webpage, and also on the Fort Hood Sentinel, which is the local newspaper. They're saying that about 238 will lose their job permanently coming this fiscal year. That's a reduction in force of 13%. They also call it a RIF, reduction in force, and that is going to be enforced by May. So 238 personnel will lose their jobs on that base. How does it affect Texas overall? Central Texas, where Fort Hood is located. Well, with the budget cuts, they're expecting to lose $2.4 billion, and that was put out by the U.S. representatives from that area, from Central Texas. They said there's going to be a hiring freeze. It's going to save about $1.5 million. This is also in conjunction with Income, Installation Management Command. So they're the ones that run all the military posts. So these are some of the things that they're doing to ensure that they meet the budget cuts or prepare for those budget cuts that are coming up. So there's going to be a hiring freeze to save $1.5 million. There's going to be a 22-day furlough, which is going to save about $76,600 each day that the furlough is enforced. And what they mentioned at the town hall meeting there, that it's going to cover 8 periods, pay periods. And it's going to affect everybody from the deputy commander at the installation all the way down to the workers that do a lot of the maintenance and run programs on the base. Alright, so third question is, what do you think about it? Well, like I mentioned earlier, I've heard about sequestration for the last 2.5 years, and I know it's been held off with different or extended. The president has extended, Congress has approved it, so they could try to work through that. I know that it was going to affect the military very hard. I didn't think it was going to affect tuition assistance. I knew it was going to affect training and a lot of the maintenance program and readiness program. I knew there was a lot of cuts going on from personnel to a lot of the DoD civilians possibly losing their jobs. I knew that there was going to be furloughs just from hearing a 1.5 to 2 years ago. Also, with the government, they were already planning on doing a lot of the cuts from personnel to units. So I don't know if those were talks in preparation for the sequestration, but I know that it was going to happen regardless whether sequestration came about or not. I also know that the fiscal cliff, I guess is what it was called, when this time came at the end of 2012, if the super committee, the group that was put together to come up with solutions so we wouldn't be at this stage where sequestration hit, if the super committee did not come up with something to that would get approved by the president in both government areas, then I knew that there was going to be a fiscal cliff, meaning that all these cuts were going to take place, so known as sequestration. Also have figured out that they also called it that the super committee, when they came together, they called it the lame duck sessions, because nothing was going to happen. They tossed around a lot of different ideas, how they were going to cut, and the ceiling to the budget cut. So that's why they called it the lame duck session, because nothing was going to happen anyways. So what would the Crawford Forlong would look at this policy? I would say that they would look at this as a political system, as a theory. I mean, it's something that the government had to do because of the too much spending going on at the government level. So it was necessary. How was it going to be implemented? Well, it was going to be decided through the government, with emphasis from the president. And then now what you have is you have a problem that you have a Congress that's divided with Democrats and representatives, and they're unable to come up with a solution. So what you have now is a alternative that the president has set to implement if they didn't come together and solve this problem. So on the policy process level, I would say that it is a problem at the government level. A lot of the unforeseeable cuts, probably down at the citizens. They didn't think it was going to get to this level, but now we're here, and it's going to affect all the states. It's affecting the military, definitely, and it's definitely affecting the government. I've read that a lot of civilians that are not affected by the government sequestration cuts are kind of looking back and saying, see, this is something that y'all should have done a long time ago and should have implemented. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening, and I am out.